Hello and welcome to Dice Jesters. My name is Julie.
And my name is Dave.
And we are a merry and whimsical board gaming podcast where we dive deep into games with curious minds and, of course, a jester's grin. We feature 10 by 10 challenges where each season we commit to playing 10 games at least 10 times, sometimes more depending on the game. And today we'll be discussing our game that had made it to the Jester's Gambit, which is Ginkgopolis.
I love that name, too. It just sounds fun.
That name's hard for me to pronounce. I have to really think about it. Kind of like tuberculosis.
Yeah.
I can only pronounce that if I'm deep in thought thinking about it.
You could just say TB, but then people might be confused. Are you talking about Taco Bell or are you talking about tuberculosis?
You were the only person that would think about Taco Bell.
People are like, oh, I got TB. I'm like, congratulations. They're like, what? Like, oh, I thought you were talking about Taco Bell.
I know. You're the only one that's like, let's get married at the Taco Bell and have a Baja Blast.
We don't need to publicize that.
It's too late.
Like,
it's already out there. You're like, I edit these.
Do you know anything about ginkgo trees?
What? That's a tree? Yeah, they come with the cute little leaves.
Yeah, well, there's like ginkgo biloba, I think, is like supposed to be good for your memory. But I learned that the ginkgo tree was found to survive the Hiroshima bombing. So It's like a very resilient tree and became a symbolism for being resilient. And so I think that that's maybe the reason why this tree was selected to represent the future of humanity, because we're kind of building this tree society around this ginkgo tree.
That's so cute. Future, so. I'm like a little ginkgo tree, so resilient.
Yeah,
so
you are.
But if you're new to Dice Jesters, new to the Jester's Gambit, new in general, welcome. Thank you for being here. We are more than cheerful that you're here. I just kind of wanted to explain what the Jester's Gambit is. So initially for season 1 through 3, Dave and I had done 10 by 10 challenges where we picked 10 games, played them 10 times, called it a day. Right, this season's different. This season we're doing the same thing, but instead of calling it a day, we could do it a little bit more. Or we can decide to stop at any point and pick a new game. So what you'll see is we play more games. We have a little bit more fun, a little less structure, a little bit of jester jubilation. And yeah, we come to these. If they make it to the Gambit, then we bring it back to our initial first impression, which you'll hear shortly. First game playthrough. And then, of course, after the 9 and or so plus rounds, we'll have it featured in these.
Talk about the journey, the whole journey. So you get all of those impressions within one episode.
Yes.
Which is fun for us to do. It's like this whole journey that we go on together.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
Each game is kind of like a trip.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it, an
I
adventure.
know. And you always get so sad when you put it away.
I know. It's like
oh.
It feels like the end of a trip, when you pack your bags and you go home and it's bittersweet. You had a good time and you're kind of sad. You're getting the blues, the post-vacation blues. I get that a little bit when I pack away.
You know how you prevent those?
You just keep playing.
No, on your vacation, you just schedule your next vacation.
You play in the next vacation, which is true. But every day is an adventure, honestly, in the world of Dice Jesters.
Every day is an adventure with you, because we were talking, right, when we had gone to that board game meetup recently.
Yeah. And
they were just like, oh, this was such a unique experience. And then I laughed because... Right after laughing, I said, I get Dave and I into some pretty wild situations.
You do. And
I do.
Specify, at least this one we didn't almost get into some serious potential harm.
I have never put us in harm, okay? It just looks like a place that may cause us harm.
Yeah, like deep in the woods. And I'm like,
have you ever met this person?
Have you ever met this person? Like, where are we going? And you're like, yes. Yes, I know where we're going. No, I've never met this person. I have no idea what this is going to be like.
And I'm like, is
you
this
give
even
me
a
little
road?
information. And it's a lot of trust to having another person to be in some of these scenarios that you and I end up in. It shows that I put all of my physical safety in your hands at some point.
The fact that you come along with me is interesting. I have only started this random adventuring, though, since being with you. Okay, prior to us, I was very cautious, very indoors, very never wanting to go out. So. Yeah,
I think we're both very much like, if the other person's like, hey, let's jump in the car, I'm taking it somewhere, we don't even ask questions. It's like, okay, cool, this is going to be interesting.
It's never not usually is, yeah.
Okay, so first impression of Ginkgopolis on the table. What did you think?
I like the privacy screen. I think that's fun because I'm
privacy screen. You sound like you're in like healthcare, or you used to be. Well, I used to be in
healthcare. No, I like that because then you can't see what I'm trying to do because you're always so nosy about my board, especially when it comes to Azul or something. You're always like, oh, that's what she's going for.
Yeah.
Or, oh, she almost has that color filled. I'm going to have to quicken the game this way. I don't know how this game's played just yet, but this way I can hide whatever it is from you so you can't see it. And it's okay because it's in the rules. The rules provide the privacy screen.
Okay. What's funny is we were just talking recently about how you always find a way to do something within the game that's not quite within the nature of the game, but it doesn't specify not to do it within the rules. And one thing that you always do when we play is you find a way to hide things behind other things so that it creates this spatial deception of where I think, oh, you don't have much of this, so I can be relaxed and do whatever I want. But in reality, you've been hoarding this one resource, and now you can make this major turn that I didn't foresee. Or when we were playing Fjords, and you were hiding how many tiles were left in the game, and I was putting all of my longhouses out thinking the game was almost over, and then boom, there's like 20 more tiles, and we still have a lot of game. I'm like, okay, good on you for finding a way to deceive me that I wasn't aware of because I wasn't paying attention, but how do you do this with every game that we play? But this game actually overtly provides that, so I'll be curious when you play this if you find a different way to play that still is deceiving. I don't know.
I feel like deceiving is making it sound different than what it is. We're usually like...
You're a little trickster.
I'm a trickster.
Yeah.
I'm a little jester, but...
Tricksy little jester.
Trixie. You make me sound like a hobbit. I'm like as tall as a hobbit.
You're the jester queen, okay?
I'm the hobbit queen. Fun fact, I did want to live in one of those hobbit homes. There was one for sale in Wisconsin. I almost got it. Almost did.
Well, it was fate that you didn't.
I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so just real quick with my little Trixie, as you call it, we're usually like 5 games in, okay? So it's not like I come out blazing with like, oh, I'm gonna try to trick you. It's like we played a few games, now I'm just trying different things to see how the game goes if I were to try these other things. So I'm testing, I'm experimenting, I'm, as you said, discovering.
And that's what this is all about, is discovering different ways to play. And like that's why we like playing them so many times. Like you play a game once, you learn the rules, like cool, you know whether or not you like the game more or less, but then as you play it more and more, it's like, ooh, I didn't know that I could do this or that. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. No, I'm excited to play this game, and this is one that's been around since 2012 and was designed by Xavier Georges, who is a Belgian designer, and he designed Trois, which is a really awesome game that I really want us to play someday. And then Carson City, which I've never played. So he has some really big hits out there. Okay. And this is a little bit of an older one. It's one that I've heard about over the years. It ends up on a lot of people's favorite classic game lists. And it's been one that I've always imagined that I would enjoy because it has simultaneous kind of action selection where you have a hand of cards, you pick a card, and then you both flip it over, and then you take turns doing what it says. But the turns are really simple. But I also like the city building aspect because we play a lot of games where we do stuff. You have your own board where you're trying to build up your own thing and you're kind of watching each other. But his whole idea behind this, and something that I really like, is you'd be building a city together where you're building upward, you're expanding it out. But then where you place things, you can benefit off of things that other people have placed already. So it kind of has that like shared element, which I think is really cool. So... And there's some area control in this, like area majority, which we really like to compete over. So I think that this game is going to have a lot of things that you and I have tended to enjoy in games so far.
Okay, that's exciting. I don't know what this alphabet thing is going on, though. It's not even the full alphabet.
The alphabet around the corner. Yeah, so that like determines... There's 2 different cards in the game. There's a card where you can use it to place a tile, and the letter on the card will dictate where the tile can go. And then there's other cards that allow you to get resources or additional tiles or points. You can expand, you can build upward on the tiles that are already there, or you can expand out. And when you expand out, you're going to get resources based on the orthogonally adjacent tiles of people that are already there. And when you build upward, then you'll be able to put your resource markers on it, which will help you for like majority in different districts, which of the same colors. So it's kind of, I'll be honest, when I read the rules, I was like, this is kind of a wonky game, is the word I used that came to mind, because it seemed odd, but those end up to be our favorite games. Like Parade comes to mind, where I read through it, I was like, this is so strange. Like, it's not like anything that we've played. The mechanisms are similar. Like we played Notre Dame, where you pick a card and you pass it back and forth. But this just... there was something about it that was not quite intuitive when I read through the rules, but that's how I know, like, oh, this is going to be a unique game. So then I watched a video. I was like, oh, that's actually really simple. And then I read through it again, looked at the backside of the player screen, and I was like, oh, this is so simple. You just pick a card, and then you can do one thing with that card, and that's it. Then you pass the cards, and you keep going. So
okay. That sounds easy.
It's really,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, for playing wise. I'm ready for it. There is this thing that I just wanted to point out that I thought was really cute of you, and I don't know if you did it on purpose or not. But, so I see that they don't have our normal player colors.
Oh, I was going to mention that.
You gave yourself orange, and you gave me black, a little Halloween spirit here. Okay, getting prepared.
Yeah, we like getting into the Halloween spirit, so
yes.
I was like, that'll make sense. I don't remember the last time I was orange in a game.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been orange in a game, so huzzah to you, I would say.
So it's taking us outside of our comfort zone. But
I know I played black a few times.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it's good.
Well, new experience for me, but they say that growth never occurs within your comfort zone. So
Right. And when you change stuff, it helps your brain because you have to rewire it to get used to the new thing.
That's true, because it messes me up anytime I'm like, if I'm playing a game and somebody else is blue, I cannot rewire my brain to not associate that as my color. Like, I'll constantly mess up the pieces and stuff.
You do, because I played as blue once.
Yeah.
And then you were moving mine. I'm like, wait, I'm so confused on what's going on.
And I'll even say if I'm playing a game with people and somebody else picks blue, I'm like, you're cool to take that, but just know I'm very likely to mess things up because that is always the color I play with. It's just this strange thing that I have. So it will be better for all of us if I can play blue.
Okay, blue's your color, even though my car is blue.
It is blue, yeah.
Yeah.
Should we jump into it, have me teach you the game with very minimal information because that's your preferred playing style? We'll see. It's always a challenge to see how little information I can give you to just get the game started.
Well, for fjords, you said Carcassonne through the desert.
Go.
And I said, oh, okay.
I don't know how I'll do this one, but at the very least explaining like 3 things and then we can get going.
Okay, sounds good. I look forward to it. I'm excited for this one because the leaves are so cute. And we are back after our first play. Wait, is this your first play?
This is my first play of all time.
Our first play of Ginkgopolis, and
we built a city.
We built a city.
You built a city.
I did really good.
That was pretty solid. Let's see. Okay, so learning round. You usually win the learning round because I do a really good job teaching, I'll say. But you won 102, so you already beat your 100 score thing. Any game we play, you try to beat 100.
I do.
And I got 75. But I attribute that to, we're just going through, we're learning the rules. How did I do teaching the game, and what was the experience like learning this game?
It was interesting. I am one of those people that have to play the game or hands-on. I'm a hands-on learner. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So with this one, you did explain it, and I'm sure you explained it well because as we learned with other people, you explain games really well.
Thank you.
I just can't learn the way that everyone else learns. So you did explain it. You told me about it, but it didn't comprehend until we got maybe to the second round, because those were rounds, right? Where after the cards run out and then you add more cards. Yeah. So the second round of our first game was when I realized, oh, this is how you play this game. Okay, that makes sense.
It took about halfway through the game to click, I would say. For me, at least.
Yeah.
And how everything worked together. And I had to stop consulting the rules.
Yeah, and then you tried to mix me up right there, because you were like, oh, is this going to be the first tableau game that you're good at? I'm like, no, it's not a tableau building game. We're not going to call it that.
See, I think it is a tableau building game.
We're not going to call it that.
So what is your perspective of a tableau building game? Is that that's the sole focus of the game, is building your tableau? Yeah,
because San Juan is a tableau building game, correct?
Yeah, Race for the Galaxy, and I'm sure we've played... Oh, I would consider Century Spice Road, kind of.
Oh, but I'm good at Century. Though.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to go back and look at the games that we've played. Mm-hmm. But I would consider this a tableau building in the sense... Maybe it's not your whole strategy of the game, but anytime you trigger a certain type of action, you look at the cards you have in your tableau or in front of you, and it'll kind of chain together bonuses that you get every time you take that same action. So anything where you put cards in front of you and it provides some kind of ongoing bonus that can ramp up, I personally consider that to be a tableau builder, but that isn't the whole focus of the game.
I was looking at this game kind of like Cooper Island, because you're building up and you have to do certain things.
Oh, building
to build
upward.
It. Yeah. So that's kind of how I looked at it.
Interesting.
Special bonus cards, which I understand that might be most individuals' main focus, but I kind of ignored those. I didn't really use those. I'm sure as more games come along, I will use them. I will see what I could do to get whatever it is. But for this learning round, I didn't feel the need to really pay attention to those as much due to me always receiving the things that I needed regardless of paying attention to those or not paying attention to those. Mm-hmm. So it will be interesting to see how that changes once we do 9 or more rounds, to see if I am looking for a certain card, or maybe I want more end of game scoring, or if I don't care to build to level 3, seeing as there's no need depending on what it is that I'm trying to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Or you try to go for the majority in the districts. You can also get points from certain buildings that have the yellow icon on them. So I think that there are different ways to play the game. If you want to go for more of the area majority, or maybe like you are really good at chaining together a certain bonus and you can get a lot of points that way. Mm-hmm. It seems like there's a lot of hidden strategies. I got that feeling playing through the first round. Okay, we're just figuring out how to get points in the game, but I think that there are different ways that you can approach it each time you play. And I was thinking about teaching you a game and your preferred method of learning, and I was like, I came to the realization that for us, anytime we play a game one time through for the first time, we're strictly just learning the game. We're not playing it competitively. We're just understanding how the rules click together. And I think that is why it comes down to the fact that you prefer to receive little information, because I think that you enjoy less being taught a game and you enjoy more discovering the game. Like you want to play through and discover what each thing does, or how to press all the buttons and how everything works together. But I was thinking about what's the difference, because I think a lot of people prefer to learn a lot of rules up front, or they want to know what the end game scoring objectives are and everything, at least in my experience in gamer groups and things like that. But I think that the difference is a lot of times when you sit down at the table and play with people for the first time, that may be the only time that people play that game for a long time, and they want a fair chance at winning within that first play. So it's almost as though they want to be on the same playing field as everybody else. But you and I don't care. We just want to get through the first round, understand it, and now we're going to start playing competitively. So
yeah, I'd say so, because there was that one time when we did the whole board gaming retreat with your friends, and we were learning Nucleum, and I felt bad because I had to walk away, because all the information is just too much information for me.
Overload, yeah.
Yeah, so I walked away, but the individual who was explaining it paused and waited for me to come back. And I was like, no, I wanted you to continue. But I had done that for Bus, but you were the teacher for Bus.
Yeah.
So because, you know my style, you were like, oh, she's good.
Yeah. You can just somehow look at a board and soak in the information without needing things explained to you.
Honestly, I think it's because of my childhood. I just needed to know things.
Psychologically. Yeah.
That's what this board gaming journey started.
I learn a little bit about you with each game we play, whether it's your preferences, extremely specific preferences for animals, or is how you psychologically digest the world around you.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn about people through playing games, which is really fun, actually.
It is.
But I would say, after one play, I'm really intrigued by this game. I think it has like a really simple, clean style design. I like the quick turns. I love building the city together. So I would love to continue this journey. I
would love to continue this journey as well. And I'm shocked that Lupin didn't jump on the table and mess up the little buildings that we had going on.
Well, it's funny. We get suspicious. It's kind of like a kid, who's quiet. You're like, what are you doing in the other room? Like, anytime Lupin's not jumping on the table, or even when we're recording a podcast episode or something, he usually comes around and wants to see what we're doing. But anytime he's not in the room, I'm like, Lupin, what are you doing?
I'm like, where's
the other room? What kind of mess are we going to walk into in the other room? I'm not sure.
Oh. But yeah, I don't really have anything to point out or really state about this game just yet, because the first round was what to expect for a first round, you know?
Yeah,
so
it doesn't click until about halfway through, and now you're like, okay, I got it. After one round, I'm ready to play again.
Yeah, and I have no comparisons for it just yet. I don't have anything to report back to.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique game, I think.
I think so too. So I'm excited to play into this, and I'm excited to find whatever it is quirky about it. I did like, though, how you had no idea that I was sitting there with 52 points.
Yeah, you had so many of those point tokens, but that's why you love the player shield. Yes. You don't have to find a creative way to hide it. So I can't wait. Let's just get straight into it and see how many rounds we're going to play. At least 10.
Yes.
But
well, at least 9 more.
At least 9 more.
Yeah,
10 total.
More,
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll go do that, and then after however many rounds, we'll be back. And we journey back to the table here after our 10. Whew. Is it 10? Well, technically after our 9 additional rounds of Ginkgopolis.
Which I thought was going to be more.
See, honestly. I knew you wanted it to be more.
I think you just got tired of losing.
No. I exhausted all of the things that I thought were plausible in it, okay? I tried everything, and after 9 additional rounds, I couldn't think of another way to get about it, okay? That's what happened. It's not that I didn't want to play it again due to losing, it's that I could not find a different way of playing it.
Of winning. That's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You couldn't find a winning strategy. That's okay. I could have played this 20 more times, honestly.
No, you wanted to play it 20 more times, not to break the game, but just so you could feel like you beat me hardcore at something. Then furthermore, you wanted the little app. You didn't say this, but I know you meant this. You wanted the app to reflect instead of me having a 53 win percentage.
Oh, is it down? Let me look. I'd be curious if this knocked you down. You're getting so full of yourself. Now you're at 52. I knocked you down.
Okay, I'm still at 52. We're not even 50-50, okay?
It was at 53 for months. I finally got down to 52. Oh, I'm glad that people can witness that moment.
Witness it?
Yeah.
Listen to it?
Seeing, well, yeah, they're here with us in the room. That's what it feels like. But when was the last time that you saw a smile so big on my face when we were playing a game?
When we were playing a game... the race to the moon, or what is that? Rat on the moon?
You're describing like 3 there's Race for the Galaxy, there's Beyond the Sun, and First Rat.
That one, First Rat.
Oh,
you were really excited because you were excited about the rats, and I was like, oh my gosh.
So happy.
And then what other game were you excited about? You initially were excited about A Feast for Odin, until you realized that there was Tetris involved.
That game was crushing.
That game broke you.
that broke me. I was so depressed. Not really. I would say playing that game, I felt defeated. Like, it was... Okay, when I was a kid, I played some sports. Played baseball and soccer, and I was never good at any of them. And it was like the feeling of going home after each of those games, feeling like, I'm not good at this. Like, this isn't what I was born to do. Like, I don't think I was born to be good at A Feast for Odin.
See, I feel that that's not true, because I played basketball, and I never felt that, but I also won a lot. And I coached basketball, right?
Yeah.
So there was no lose. There was only do.
I'm scared for anybody to have you as their coach.
My sister had me as her coach.
Really?
And it was so funny because, I mean, this is completely off topic. And
that's fine.
I probably have to over-explain.
Yeah.
But I called a timeout because my sister was on the ground trying to grab the ball, you know? And if she were to get off the ground... it would be considered a travel. Travel means that you're moving without bouncing the ball.
Yeah,
so,
thank you for explaining that for us nerds.
So I called a timeout while she was on the ground holding the ball, which would automatically make the ball ours, right? And then I ran it up to have her be on the perfect line to pop a 3. Getting a 3 in the hoop means that you're outside of the paint. The paint is the inside of the half circle.
So is that where you throw the ball into the circle?
Hoop. And
you got to bring it down a few levels.
I did bring it down. And then she got it, and we were like, woo! And then everyone was like, how'd you do it? And I was all like, there is no try. There's only do or do not. You're like, okay, so you were Yoda. You're like, were you the nerdiest person who played basketball? And I was like, maybe. I don't know.
I have a question for you. I swear this ties into board games.
Okay.
But you've told me about your basketball days. And you had a nickname of Julie Defense.
Yeah.
And how does that relate to your approach to board games? And how, specifically with this game, how is your defense in this one? Okay, joking aside, would you say that you usually have a more defensive approach or more of an offensive approach?
I guess technically I have a more defensive approach because naturally I'm always on defense. I never want to attack anybody right off the gate.
But you're ready for it.
Right, but I'm ready for it. So that's why whatever game that it was that we were playing, I forgot which one it was, where you decided to come over and do something that you knew.
Was it Le Havre?
I think it might have been Le Havre. It was something. It
I
was
took
Le
your fish
Havre.
factory.
Yeah, you took my fish factory, and I said you. And then
you took my fish.
You took my fish. And that's when you realized, oh my god, never attack
she's
her.
Scary. You're like, I'm not only intent. My goal is no longer to win this game. Is to make it as miserable for you as possible to make sure you can't do what you want to do.
Yeah, because usually I'm chill. Yeah. Usually I'm chill. I'm pretty on the defense. Like, I'm okay with being on defense. But the second you, like, overstep my defensive boundary, I'm like, all right, it's all in.
Yes.
And that's what happened. That's how I won one of the rounds at Ginkgopolis.
Yeah, you won a couple of them.
I won like two.
Two, and then we tied one. But then I won the rest of the rounds.
Yes.
So just had to get that out there. I'm like really excited. Playing board games with you turns me into this ultra competitive person where when I win, I like take it for all its glory. Like, yes, I won this game within the 10x10 challenge, knowing that very well you'll probably win over the grand scheme of this 10x10. But I'm not here to win. I'm here to have a good time. But
I love you, like, I'm not here to win, but let me just tell you how I won.
But this was a really fascinating exercise of a style of game. And, like, we've played so many... Okay, we played, like, 75 games together at this point. Really? I've taught you and you've learned. And I've, like, very interestingly learned that there's some games that I'm really good at and some games that I'm really terrible at. And there's, like, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is it about certain games that makes me good? And we talked about that when it came to Through the Desert. I did really well in that, and Bruges I did really bad. So I'm like, what? And you're like, games that don't have a lot of distractions. And that's why Feast for Odin was so tough for me, was because that game has such a wide decision space. It has this board full of action spots that you can go, and it's hard to know. Like, I jokingly in our deep dive discussion of it talked about going into like a crowded grocery store that you're unfamiliar with and not knowing what you need and all that funny stuff. But this game has a very narrow decision space. It's so clean and so focused, and
it makes it easy.
I think that makes it easy for me. I think that I need the decision space to be pretty narrow.
Yeah.
I need like the path to victory to be very clear. What I need to do that, and have a way to progressively get better at one particular thing. I think that's like the perfect recipe, and a way to combo. Like, that's be a way for me to chain things together in this game. So let's just take a step back and talk about our experience playing Ginkgopolis, or Ginkgopolis, as I called it.
I know, you kept calling it that. I was like, great, I'm going to pronounce it wrong for this.
Yeah, so, okay, we talked about our initial impression learning the game. Like, it was kind of wonky, kind of weird. And then we continued playing. And how did your perspective change, or like, what was that journey like over those additional 9 plays?
Was it the first round that I won? I think so, right?
Let me look back. You did win the first round, and then I won
forever.
A lot. I won the next 5 after that. Then you won one.
Early.
Or no, so I won the next 4 after that.
The first one?
And then we tied, and then you won one, and you're like, oh, I got it. That's when you're like, you're not going to win any more games in this 10x10 challenge, or this particular game.
Thanks for the recap.
And then I came back and
It's because I didn't do what I had been doing. That's why I didn't do what I did for that one. Because the purpose of our 10x10s, David, is to try different strategies to see if there is a broken strategy.
It's the Jester's Gambit.
Right. But you're over here like, I won using this, so I'm just going to use this forever.
I did wildly different things in the different plays.
You did.
I put myself in the mind of the Jester's Gambit. Of like, I'm going to do some really bizarre, outlandish strategies to see where they land. So,
yes, tell me.
You have these districts that grow, and at the end of the game, you get points for if you have the majority in that district of like the same color buildings that are orthogonally adjacent. If you have the most, you get points for all of the total markers in there, and then if you get the second most, then you get the points just for yours. So you can get a lot of points. And especially if you're the only color in a region, you get points for first and second place. So you get double the points for every one of your markers. So there was a game toward the end where I was like, you know what? My initial plays, I was just like, oh, I'm going to like try to place a tile here and try to add to this district. And then I'm going to add over here and try to like get some markers over here. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to radically change the board almost every single move. Like, you think that you're building this whole blue district over here, well, I'm going to come up with a red to break it into two. And now, like, I have majority on this side of red, and you only have a couple pieces over here. And so you're going to have to change it back or find a different way to connect. And it was like...
But that's the one I won.
I implemented that a couple times.
Yes.
And then, oh, you know what? I'm going to get rid of all the yellows on the board and just make this giant red district, or I connect two red districts, and then now I have this metropolis of this red city. And so I kind of introduced chaos into the game in the later rounds that made it unpredictable. Like, you're used to me just kind of keeping to myself and trying to build something, but this time I was like very aggressive and going and like trying to change what you were doing and change the colors of things that were on the board, which is one thing I love about this game. Like, everything is shared, nothing is yours, and everything can be taken from you. You can't
the way you said everything can be taken from you.
Yeah,
you're like you worked so hard to build this company, it's mine.
I'm like, here is I have this district where I have like a level 2 red, a level 3 red, and then a level 2 red. You can come into the level 3 red, pay a resource to change it from red to blue, and then add your own on there. And now, boom, you've changed the makeup of the board, and you've also taken over that building. What is below it is no longer relevant.
Well, you also get points from me taking over, whatever that may be.
Yeah, you do. You get a point per each marker for getting that. So
you take over an opponent's.
Yeah, and there are some times where you think, oh, I'm being clever and coming in and doing this, but you actually can help the other person by increasing the size of the city that they already have control over. So it's like, there were times where you're like, oh, I'm being so clever, and I'm like, oh, you're actually helping me. Thank you so much for expanding my city size.
Trust me, I heard you say, oh, thank you. And then you kept saying thank you 20 times. 20 times. And then Lulu, jump on table. And then I'm like, knock it over, Lupin, do it. No. And you're like, he's giving me anxiety. He's going to knock it over. And I'm like, do it.
So there was that chaos strategy. And then another weird thing that I tried doing was, so at the beginning of the game, you get 3 of these starting people that go in, and that starts your tableau. And in the early rounds, I was like, oh, I'm going to try to get one of each category, because they give you a bonus if you do one of each of the 3 actions, which is like building upward, building outward, or using a card to discard in order to get either a resource or a tile. And I thought, oh, I'm going to want to have a bonus for each category, so no matter what I do, I'm getting something. But then I'm like, I'm making these like mediocre moves to get like a couple things. No, I'm going to like go all in on this one thing. So if I need to do that, if I could just do that one kind of action, like expand the city, now I'm going to get 3 resource tokens, 2 tiles, and like 2 points every time I do it. So I'm like, why would I do anything else? I'm just going to keep expanding out the city. And then, oh, I'm going to build upward a few times to get these endgame scoring. Oh, man. I love this game.
I can tell.
I love this game.
I can tell. We compared it, well, I compared it to ice cream. Where it's just like real life, where we go to an ice cream shop, and if it just has chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, you're fine. Yeah. You know what you're choosing. But anytime we go to an ice cream shop with multiple flavors, you're like, I don't know, just choose for me.
I get overwhelmed and overstimulated by too many decisions. That is a downfall of mine. It's not something I'm proud of. But I'm like a child. Like, if you're talking to a child and you don't want to overwhelm them with like 50 choices. You're like, do you want chocolate or do you want vanilla? Like, you got to give them two choices.
I told you to do that.
I know. Yeah. It's okay. Because that's how you talk to me. So, but this game is very much on a turn. There's only 3 actions that you can do.
Yeah.
There's not 1,000 things. And then you're limited to the 4 cards that you have in your hand, so you can't even do that many things. But
right.
Which one do you want to do? But then within that, there's some interesting choices because and this is what I love. I love games where everything affects everybody in like a positive or negative way. And what I thought was interesting about this game is it's almost like a group deck building game when you think about it. Ugh. Because when you construct any tile, then when this deck runs out, then we'll add cards based on the numbers that we've constructed in the city. So I could build a 20 cost build or a level 20 building, but I know that that's going to add a 20 card to the deck, which will give you 9 points if you manage to build it into your tableau. So I may get that, but you may get that too. Is that worth me putting out? Like 20 is the highest building you can have out there, which is awesome. And that means that if somebody wants to build over it, then they would either have to play a 20 of a different color or pay a lower building and have to pay the difference in points, which is really interesting. But I like the idea that no matter what I construct, that will take a new card from the supply and put that specific card into the deck. And I think that the one thing about that some people may want, if you're somebody that like needs every piece of information to play a game, like this game could use some kind of reference sheet to tell you what each tile associated with each card, what its power is. Like, oh, do I want to introduce this card that has an endgame scoring bonus or this one that gives like a resource?
But do you feel that if that cheat sheet, because it's basically a cheat sheet, it's like the statistics of whatever, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that in turn would make people use it even if they don't want to use it? Because I kind of like how it's random, how you don't really know those things. Because when we originally started this like podcast in general and we were playing Carcassonne, I was talking to someone and they said that they went to kind of like a Carcassonne tournament, but it wasn't fun for them because there was somebody who knew every single tile,
yes,
and the probability of pulling it, and they knew like, oh, this, and they knew what was in the bag because they could see what was on the table. And so I feel that the random of being so many cards that you can't really memorize it unless you play it a lot,
yeah,
is good, as opposed to perhaps getting that cheat sheet that says this is 1 through 20, this is what you could potentially have. Because I feel that people would then in turn make a whole strategy based off of getting those cards, which, I mean, I love a good strategy game where you can figure out what you want to do, but I feel like for this specific game, the fun of it is building at random for the most part, like just kind of getting thrown cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question on the nature of the game, but I would agree with you that it shouldn't matter. But for the sake of, we're going to take a random card and put it into the deck. Like, I don't think you need to know necessarily. There might be a cheat sheet that tells you every card that's in the game, but you're not going to be looking at that. But the fact that this game has a specific card that's tied to the tile that you're choosing to play, I think some people would want to know, like, well, what's the impact of me introducing this card potentially into the game? And the fact that, yeah, if you do play it a certain number of times, you're going to start to learn, okay, the higher valued buildings are going to be end of game scoring. The lower ones are going to be some of those like additional resources or tiles or so forth. And in the middle, it's kind of like a mix up of the two, I think. So I think that kind of may inform your decision of what one you want to put in. If you're like a serious competitive player, you would probably... I'm not that style of gamer because, again, narrow decision space I really like. I would be overwhelmed looking at a huge thing and figuring out, okay, well, I could play like a 17 red, but that's going to put in an endgame thing that you're actually going to benefit from. So if you get that, that's going to be 20 points. If I get that, it's only going to be 6. But if I play the 17 blue, then that's going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I could definitely see people going down that path with this game. And I think it's meant to be like a quick, fast-paced, resource management-esque kind of like city building game that you can get through in like 45 minutes. That level of thinking would drag this out to be a 90-minute game.
Yeah.
Which is not my preferred style of play. And I think that when you play with people who play a lot of board games, like, we tend to overanalyze really simple games. You remember when we played Port Royal?
The card game.
Super lightweight, push your luck, tableau building game. That is fun and should be a lighthearted, easygoing game. That's chill. But the first time I learned it, it was like a 20-minute teach of like going through literally every card in the game and the statistic probability. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this game, you're making it way more complicated than it needs to be. And at that point, it's no longer fun to me. But that's my own personal preference. I know some people like need to have that information, but I'm somebody who just likes to go with the flow and do what's in front of me. I go off of vibes.
Well, I'm competitive too. Well, not too, because you said you go off vibes. I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
But although I'm extremely competitive, I don't care to know what the cards do. I like the journey of discovering it. And I know that lots of people may not play a game more than once or twice, but I always like to use our first game as that learning round, and then maybe that second as implementing what I learned, and then the third one. So, yes, we do 10 by 10s, but I do think that if you're going to play a game, the sweet spot would be 3 to 4 actual plays of the game
to feel competitive,
to feel what the game has to offer, because the first one is learning, the second one is implementing what you learned, and then the third and the fourth is, okay, I got it, let me do what I think I can do
to try to win. And then for us, like, 5 through 10 is just exploring
different
strategies,
and perhaps like broken strategies.
But I couldn't find a broken strategy in this game. Everything feels pretty balanced.
I could tell you're really excited about winning. You were like, there's no broken strategy because I won.
No. I know it. Like,
no, I could tell that you're excited because anytime you really like a game, you talk more. And anytime I really like a game, I talk about it more. Like Aquasphere, I was like, let me tell you about how I went around and around and knocked you down. And then for this game, you're like, let me tell you how I build. Let me tell you. So, like, I feel that there's, like, this trend where anytime you and I like a game more, we tend to be like, this is what I did. Listen.
Yeah, this feels like a very Dave episode.
Yeah, I'm like, very Dave.
Aquasphere, I just kind of sat there and let you talk. I was like, yeah, I tried to win once and it worked, kind of.
You were like, there was lots of things going on, and then you were dancing on top of it for some odd reason, and I couldn't figure what you were doing.
You know what the feeling of this game, though, was similar to? It's funny you mentioned Carcassonne. But I would say one of my favorite parts about Carcassonne, in fact, my favorite part about Carcassonne is like when you're building a city and then you try to connect to somebody else's and like mess up their plans, like you overtake it. Let's be honest, that's the funnest part of the game.
Yeah.
If you're just doing your own thing, it's an okay, like you're just putting tiles on the table and like completing things. But when you get competitive and you're like, oh, I'm coming for your city, oh, I'm going to put this like weird tile here so now you can't. If you enjoy that about Carcassonne, this game is all about, it gives you so much of that feeling of trying to go and take over somebody's whatever or mess up their plans.
Yeah.
Which I find a lot of fun.
And it's just as easy to learn as Carcassonne, for the most part.
I would say Carcassonne, maybe a step or two up.
Yeah. So you can learn Carcassonne, and then you can learn Fjords, and then after Fjords, you can learn this one.
I would say heaviness, complexity-wise, if you look back at our previous 10 by 10 seasons. Our first season was like introductory. I would say they were pretty lightweight games. Maybe there was like 1 or 2 in there that was a little bit more challenging to learn or teach. But season 2, I would say that this game would fit into season 2, which was kind of light to mid-weight Euro with like Notre Dame. I guess Castle Burgundy was in there. Okay, maybe it wasn't like super.
I was like, I don't think it was season 2.
Season
it's
2
more
kind
like
of
season
progressed.
3.
Yeah,
because season 3 had like Arnak, which is the game that you would recommend to somebody who wants to get into heavy games but doesn't want to do all of the like really intense stuff just yet.
I would say this game, I would recommend this over Arnak for like if you're wanting to teach somebody a step up kind of game, because Lost Ruins of Arnak, I think the theme attracts a lot of people in, but it looks intimidating when you sit down at a table. If you want a game that doesn't look intimidating whatsoever, this would be a good one, because it starts with just that 3x3 grid, a hand of cards, and a few piles of cards and some tiles, and that's it. It expands. Upward, outward.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but one thing, if I can give feedback, that privacy board drove me insane.
How so?
Because I kept hitting it. You kept hitting it.
It sounds like a you problem.
No, you kept hitting it too.
There's so many times that I would reach for something and then my hand would graze it and knock stuff all over.
And then it would knock over everything.
But they're needed though. Like you don't want to see what the other person.
But here's my replacement for it. So
blindfolds.
Blindfolds? No. What are you talking?
I don't know.
No, like in Romeo, you get this little. It looks like bleachers. You know, a little staircase.
Oh,
and then you put your tiles on there.
But you would still see how many tiles the other person has.
Okay, but is that really relevant?
Kind of, maybe. Well, I guess how many resources you could technically count. Points.
It's points that's more so worrisome, but the points aren't even the holder of the games, though.
Huh.
The points behind the sheet. And you see how many hand tokens somebody uses.
That's true.
If it did have the staircase, though, if it's the staircase, you would only see the backs of the tiles. You could still conceal your resources and your points on a lower level.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a point. So that's interesting. I wonder if the screens are more beneficial for a higher player count. With 2 players, I get what you're saying, because the benefit to the screen for me is to be able to have all my tiles face up so I can see them. I don't have to keep picking them up. And
you can still have it faced up with the stairs.
But if you had the stairs, you could have those out. Because if I look, I could easily count how many pieces are on the board, how many pieces are in your supply. I would figure out how many are behind your screen. So it's just adding math into figuring out what you have.
And it can't be a crucial part because in Rummy, if you run out of tiles, like the dominoes, you technically kind of win. You're out for the game. So people might try to do certain things to prolong you using that tile, like to do math and guess which one may be in your hand so that you can't lay it down and you have to grab another tile. So I think it doesn't really necessarily matter how many you have because the tiles in your hand doesn't designate endgame scoring. It doesn't matter how many tiles you have in your hand, you know?
Yeah.
It might just affect somebody's math where they're like, oh, I see these cards on the table, but then with everything going on, depending on how quickly you move, that's a lot of statistics to run. Because even for me, when I was looking at it, the way we covered up our cards, it was hard to see the numbers that were done. Like, for example, you drew a 7, and I was like, wait, where's the 7 come from? And then we kind of had to move some tiles to see if it was even out there.
Yeah, that only happened a couple times.
It happened once.
Yeah.
It really did. But
that's why I love those construction things that go out. They help you keep track of what's what.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is that it doesn't matter how many tiles you have. And if you have your cards down, you have the number covered.
True.
So if somebody was trying to run the stats on what card could be in the pile, it would be difficult unless they had a pencil and paper to mark down what cards have already been played.
Yeah, and I would say if somebody's playing with that kind
intensity.
of mindset,
it's just are you playing
this game? You need to take it with a lighthearted approach. I think this game.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If we take it with a lighthearted approach, it would be nicer to have a staircase as opposed to the trifold.
Okay. Well, wow, that was a journey. I had a lot of fun, but the question at the end of all this,
I don't even think the question's for me. The question, Dave, is are we keeping it on our Jester's shelf of grand cheer, or are we giving it a non-planetary boo off stage?
So, do you mean to say, is this being crowned by the court's laughter and bestowed upon the Jester's shelf, or excused from the court with a polite bow?
I meant what I said. Which would you like?
Which one do you like?
No, this is about you.
What do you mean it's about?
Because this one,
is it the winner of the challenge gets to decide if it stays or goes?
No,
it'll always stay.
You seem
the loser of it should be able to decide.
You seem most enthusiastic
because
about
that's a better indicator of how much you like a game. It's how much do you like it when you lose.
I like lots of games, even if I lose.
Yeah, like Le Havre is one of my favorite games, and I've won that not that many times.
No, I want you to decide because you seem very happy about this. You were showing me expansions with it. Yes, we can keep it, David.
So we're crowning it by the court's laughter and bestowing it upon the Jester's shelf?
Huzzah!
Bless the shelf!
Oh my god. I wish people could see how we're in a dark room right now.
We are.
Just recording.
Since we started recording this, the sun has gone down. We're sitting in darkness
and
right
he's
now.
over here.
I'm saying bless the
Bless
shell.
the
We're
shell.
throwing out Renaissance terms. Like, the neighbors downstairs can probably hear us.
The neighbors downstairs are probably so confused on what we talk about half the time. They're like, is it Ren Fair every day? And then sometimes they leave in non-Renaissance outfits, but sometimes Renaissance outfits.
Sometimes.
And that one Friday I saw her in scrubs for some reason.
Oh, but that's our lives. Yeah. It's the Jester's life.
It's the Jester's journey.
But thank you for taking that journey with me.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what our future journeys have in store here at Dice Jesters.
Here at Dice. Me too. And thank you so much for joining us this week as we discuss Ginkgopolis. Be sure to join us next week for a resummoning or perhaps newcomer to the court. And if you would like to email us about games and or just anything that's board game related, or maybe you have questions, who knows? That is for your faith to decide. You can email thedicejesters@gmail.com, and that's Jesters with a J, not Jesters like ham Jesters.
Jesters.
Yeah, Jesters like silly Jesters. And we are also on Instagram. Instagram is Dice Jesters. You can also find us on Patreon. Patreon is Dice Jesters. There you can find some behind the scenes such as side quest, like what we do. I made a video about a whale. Please go find it. It's public. You don't even have to join.
It's really cool.
Yeah, seriously, just go find it. Just
it's
go
magical,
find it.
Honestly, I've watched it several times.
Yeah.
Like, wow, like this is so.
It tickles my brain.
Like I love that video.
I'm so proud of that video. That's why it's for free to anybody.
Go check it out,
so
honestly.
please just go check it out. It would mean a lot to me because although it's like a minute video, it took me like 3 hours.
Well, I kept hearing these sound effects that when you were editing. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you watching? It sounds like Willy Wonka with like some
whale noises.
Some whale noises and like
and
mystical,
then like scary grumblings.
It sounds like a mix between Willy Wonka and Disneyland. If you're just like listening as a fly on the wall, like that's what it sounds like.
It has Studio Ghibli undertones.
Yeah.
So please go watch it. That is on our Patreon. Our Patreon's Dice Jesters. If you do go to the Patreon, it would be in our side quest collection. And you don't have to join or anything, but you could still look at it.
It's for public, right?
Yeah, it's public, so you could still check it out, and you could still watch it for the joy of it, because I worked really hard on it, so.
Yeah, do it for Julie.
Do it for me. Just like, we're going to do the hamster thing for Dave.
Yeah.
Do the watch the whale for me.
And also email to show your support for the hamster. The crowds have been rallying. Whenever I step outside, I'm met with a crowd of people cheering, like hamster.
The squirrels are watching, and they're like, "I thought you wanted a squirrel."
It's gonna happen. I'm waiting for it. So,
okay, but again, thank you so much for joining us, and as always, play games with the ones you love.